Thank you for coming. It's autumn and the common cold is invading the city. You know, 1/3 of all common colds, you get them by shaking hand with people. So probably a couple of you who have shaken hand with people that have children or grandchildren are going to be sick in common cold today or tomorrow. And that's good for the business. Even better is that 2/3 of common colds are spread through air. So just by sitting here, you expose yourself to a quite substantial risk of getting a common cold. Coldzyme is the only common cold product on the Swedish market that treats the common cold, not only the symptoms, but the virus itself. So, who am I? I'm an MD, PhD, Fredrik Lindberg. I worked in entrepreneurial environments for more than 20 years. I worked for US pharmaceutical companies, and I started an orthopedic company 20 years ago that now is listed. I'm the CEO of Enzymatica since 2015. So what is Enzymatica? We are from the south of Sweden, Lund, university town. We got this first product. It's a technical platform, but this is the first product, Coldzyme. We got it CE-marked in 2013 and entered Swedish pharmacies the same year. We were listed on First North 2015. Before that, we were listed on Aktietorget. We are 21 full-time employees, whereof 5 in Iceland, where we have a research unit and a production unit of the enzyme that is one of the key components in this product. Today we have 6.2% market share in the Swedish market. It's a very competitive market, I will show you later on. And we are still growing, being the 7th year on the market. So this is not a one-year product. This is something that has come to stay. We have partnered a couple of big distribution companies, one of them being Stada, which is one of the biggest European pharmaceutical companies, the #1 in Germany. We are partnered with them for Germany, Austria and Belgium. We have Boots and Lloyds as partners in UK, and I will show you what we are doing. Last year we did a rights issue of $10 million or euro. So, I already told you, it's the #1 product that prevents and shortens the common cold. Not treating the symptoms primarily, but treating the virus. And it works like, it reduces the virus particles. So, firstly, the product creates a barrier in the throat, which is mechanical. And then the product contains an enzyme that cuts off the surface proteins of a virus. If this is a virus, I do like this. The virus has surface proteins on the surface. And our cells also have surface proteins. And for the virus to get in contact with the body, it has to dock to our proteins, and then it invades the cell. And once in the cell, the virus starts producing hundreds of thousands or even millions of virus particles in one cell. It's taking over the cell factory. And when the cell is about to burst, it really bursts. And then the virus is spread all over the nose and throat, and then you get a real common cold. The enzyme cuts off the surface proteins, so the virus cannot dock to the cells. So that's the mode of action. The enzyme comes from cod. It's interesting, but it's very technical. But briefly, the cod is swimming in 4 degrees Celsius. Normally, mammals like us, we die when it's 27 degrees because our enzymes stop working. This enzyme is fully working at 4 degrees Celsius, and when it comes in contact with our body temperature, it becomes super active. So in a bottle of Coldzyme, we only need a small fraction of enzymes. And that's the secret why the enzyme doesn't digest itself. Normally when I meet scientists, they say, oh, you have an enzyme in your bottle, it must degrade itself in 10 minutes. But it doesn't, partly because of this cold adaptive enzyme, as it's called. Normally we think of common cold as a disease of the nose. But in fact, most of the virus replicates in the throat. and the nose is more of a symptom organ. We cough, we have a blocked nose, and we also have a sore throat, pain in the throat. But most of it begins in the throat. So therefore, because we want to attack the virus, we spray the spray in the throat, in the mouth, not in the nose. ColdZyme takes care of almost all known viruses up to a very high degree. So if we mix ColdZyme with the most common viruses and then allow the virus to invade cells, they can't do it because they have been inactivated. There is one virus, adenovirus, which is not very common, that is only partly affected by ColdZyme. So this is done in test lab. ColdZyme is not a pharmaceutical product. It's not a medicine. It's a medical device. Why? Because it's working outside of the body. It doesn't go into the cells. You swallow it and it goes through the stomach and out the other way. And it contains very natural substances that are not absorbed by the body. So by definition, when it doesn't have a pharmaceutical or metabological effect, it becomes a medical device. And that means that the regulations are less tough than for pharmaceuticals because the risk is much lower. These are the countries where we are present right now. We just launched in South Africa before summer. They have their winter when we have our summer, which is good because our business goes up and down. It's low sales during the summer months and it peaks during autumn and winter. But with South Africa as the first country in the southern hemisphere, we will even out that variation a little bit. Last year we also got an agreement with one of the biggest Japanese life science companies. They don't want to disclose themselves because they want to keep competitors as far behind as possible. And in Germany, as I said, we have STADA, we have a distributor in Spain, and then we are selling directly in Scandinavia and have a distributor in Iceland, where this idea comes from originally. STADA. The German market is a 1 billion euro market, so it's about 10 times bigger than Sweden. This product takes a lot of effort and investment in marketing, so we are looking for the best and biggest distributors because they must be able to afford to do the marketing necessary. You don't, as a distributor, you don't earn money the first year. STADA is one of these big, good partners. They are market leaders in Germany for symptom-relieving cold products. They are market leaders in UK as well, and in Russia, and in other countries. So we closed the deal for Germany, Belgium, and Austria. They launched in 2017. They got an immediate penetration and good sales. They had a massive campaign, and they were so good, so the competitors woke up. Our competitors are the biggest companies in the world selling symptom-relieving products. So our partner got in front of the court, and the court said you are not allowed to market and sell this product because you don't have enough science behind it. And the court required science that is necessary for pharmaceuticals, but not for medical devices. Our partner tried at the higher court, but got the same verdict in December 2018. And in essence, it means that we have to do a big placebo-controlled trial for ColdZyme as the first medical device in global history, I think. But it's exclusive for the German market, so STADA is continuing to sell in Austria and Belgium, and no other European country has these tough marketing rules. It is to protect their consumers. So that's the reason. And if we look at sales, we can see the impact. We launched, this is quarterly sales. We launched in Germany third quarter 2017. You could see that we were happy. The sales that quarter doubled compared to the year before. Fourth quarter, they follow up with a new order. Fantastic. First quarter 2018, we got a new order from Germany, and then we were not allowed to sell. So after that, sales went down. So last year, we had lower sales. But you can see, if we clean out from Germany, it's still growing. Fourth quarter 2018, we didn't have Germany, but still there was a good growth. Also the first quarter this year, if we clean out Germany, there is an underlying growth. And the summer months are low sales, and we didn't have any sales in Germany here. So we are, of course, hoping of getting back in Germany as soon as possible. These are the German. Our Q2 report, you can see that we had a growth of almost 20% compared to last year. Germany doesn't affect this at all, but if you look at the first 2 quarters, we had sales in Germany during 2018, which gave us higher figures. But if we clean for Germany, the growth is about 10% on the existing markets. We have operating costs that are a little bit higher than last year, and that is because we are doing very big clinical trials, patient studies. And for the moment, we are doing a placebo-controlled trial, and you can understand why. This is a better way of looking at the sales, because it evens out the variation for quarters. It's the rolling 12 months sales. And you can see the trend, and then with Germany, our commercial idea was to jack up the line on a higher level, but then we fell back when we lost Germany, and when we did this break, I would say. But the underlying growth is still there. Coldsime is the most recommended common cold product if you ask pharmacy employees, far more than the others, because probably because it goes to the root of the common cold, the virus itself, and because it's effective. This is a quite interesting picture. It's the launch date along the x-axis here, 1960, 1970, and this is the market share in Sweden. And you can see that the big products, they were launched 50 years ago. They don't have any patent, they don't have any modern clinical trials, patient studies. And for 50 years, nothing has happened. These 2 products are copy products of these original brands. And this is among the biggest companies in the world. It's GlaxoSmithKline & Beecham and Reckitt Benckiser. And then comes Coldsime as the first product that has established itself on a very sophisticated market, like the Swedish market is, because customers think and want to understand. And we have 6.2 market share. And this is not unique only in Sweden. It's globally unique. There are no other new products on the market, or there hasn't been during the last decade, that has established itself and stayed on the market. It's difficult for you to see, but this is official Nielsen data. Sales from pharmacies. So the market is 950 million Swedish krona. Number 1 product is Otrivin, 161 million Swedish krona. Strepsils, Nipaxon, cough syrup, and then comes Coldsime on place number 4. And then comes a lot of well-known brands, Neseril, Bufacin, etc. So we have really established ourselves in the market. Globally, it's a $30 billion market. It's huge. Remember, we have 6% market share in Sweden. It takes time. I mean, we launched in 2013. But we have a partner in Germany. We have an agreement with Japan, and these are big markets. And we are working on the other markets as well. Our strategy, of course, is to continue growing in Sweden. Outside of Scandinavia, we don't have direct sales people. We only go through distributors that take all the costs for sales and marketing, etc. So the costs we have is the people, the staff, the 21 people in Iceland and Sweden, and the clinical trials that we are doing. Then we can continue growing on top of that with the help of distributors. Some news. I told you we have a platform technology. We are focusing on common cold. It's big enough. We don't want to fail in common cold because we're doing a lot of other stuff. But it happens that we have a barrier technology, and we don't only protect the mucosal barrier, the throat and the nose. The technology also protects the skin. So we have been talking to a German company for a couple of years, and we have had some small business. And suddenly they got private equity investing in them, and we got this order of 120 million Swedish krona over 3 years. First year, this year, is quite low, maximum 5 million Swedish, and then it's growing when they are penetrating their markets, new markets with new products. I told you we are doing a placebo study. We finished that in May, and now we are working a lot with feeding the computers with data, and we are hoping to get the results during fall, or we will get that during this fall. And if they are good, we have fulfilled what the German court required from us. We need to publish the results as well, but you can do that online fairly quick. I told you we launched in South Africa. We launched a new a new taste this fall, strawberry, to broaden the customer base. And based on another clinical trial that we made last year, we have also expanded the indication to not only shorten and treat the common cold, but also the symptom sore throat. The first symptom is very often sore throat. We have a lot of publications. This is a key when you deal with a product like us, not only to prove to customers and pharmacists, but especially to the best distributors. We need science. We did a large study on real common cold, the kind of common cold you will get, if not today, maybe tomorrow or next month, showing that quality of life significantly improves with ColdZyme. Had this been a pharmaceutical, then this 35% reduction in symptoms would have been huge. It is as huge for a medical device. And these are the quality of life parameters we are looking at. You know, when you have a common cold, you can't think clearly. You don't sleep because your nose is blocked, and you can't interact with others. And already within the first 24 hours, for those who take ColdZyme, there is a significant improvement compared to if they don't take anything with ColdZyme. So they have a better physics, they can walk better, and they interact with others in a better way. And then after 2 and 3 and 4 days, all of these quality of life parameters are improved with ColdZyme compared to no treatment at all. So this is very strong data. This is the need for rescue medication. That is drugs, painkillers, or nose sprays. And if you use ColdZyme, you don't have any need for paracetamol or naproxen or nose spray at the same extent as you have if you don't take ColdZyme. And finally, this is the shortening of the common cold. So the blue bars is ColdZyme, and the red bars are without ColdZyme. And you can see that they get healthy quicker if they use ColdZyme. So you reduce the cold period with a couple of days. Not only the symptom, but also the duration. I can drop the summary. The placebo study we just have finished is designed in exactly the same way, but we are not comparing ColdZyme to no treatment. We are comparing to placebo. But there is no evidence whatsoever in history that placebo affects common cold. So we expect the data to be similar to what we have seen with the other study, but you never know with clinical trials, and you never know with placebo-controlled trials. So it's exciting time, not only for shareholders, but also for us. Summary, big market, a paradigm shift with ColdZyme. We don't treat the symptoms, we treat the stage before. Patent-protected platform, very strong clinical data, a very nice product pipeline, which is on hold, but that we will release when we think it's time. 7 years of substantial growth on the domestic markets, good distribution contracts, and we own our own research. We control everything from start, including research, production, and finally sales, except for those markets where we have a distributor. Thank you. A long time.
So thank you very much, Fredrik. Now we'll move on to some questions and answers. So first of all, looking at the competitive landscape, there has been launch of some competitive products, for example, using a red algae enzyme and such. Could you describe the impact on Enzymatica and perhaps also what, if you're doing anything to mitigate competitive risks, or more flavor on the competitive landscape as a whole, as new products sort of enter the market?
There has been a couple of nose sprays with the barrier technology on the market, European market, since many years. And firstly, it's not convenient to stuff your nose with a lot of barrier material. And secondly, they haven't worked that good as expected because everything happens in the throat, or most of it. So we were the first to launch a throat spray. Now we have some competitors also on the Swedish market. But what we're doing is we are improving our clinical evidence. So our best marketeers is the pharmacy salespeople, because they are educated and they understand and they recommend ColdZyme because we have the evidence. And then secondly, it's the repeat purchase. Our customers, we have 80% repeat purchase, which is very high for a product like this. And that is because it works. So we don't have to do any specific action against our competitors. We improve our own product and our own evidence. And you saw, I mean, I showed you the biggest 13 products in the segment, and it's only us there.
So you mentioned that marketing is an important piece of the penetration of especially new markets, as you mentioned. So could you walk us through the process, the marketing process of how you sort of educate the customers and how you spread the word, so to say?
First is awareness. So you will see a lot of ColdZyme on television. Not a lot. I mean, it's maybe 20% of what you see for Otroin, for example. But that's a bigger company. So that's awareness. And then when you go to the pharmacy and you don't remember the product name, we have trained the pharmacy people in ColdZyme. So they want to recommend ColdZyme. And then the third and most important, the product works. And then we do a lot of sampling. Because it works, we are very keen on giving away products. Because there is a resistance. People don't really believe that something works against common cold. So I have 20 packages here for those of you who are fast runners. You have to take a brochure as well.
So it's a bit of word of mouth marketing there. Yeah. So as you mentioned, the regulatory situation in Germany will obviously be sort of a key value inflection point for the company. But looking beyond that, there's quite interesting. Could you give us some more information on the Japanese opportunity and perhaps what other platforms we can expect in the further expansion going forward?
Yeah, it's not the regulatory thing in Germany. It's pure marketing regulations. Regulatory is a European matter. But Japan, yeah, it's a fantastic market. You have seen Japanese people with this mask against their face when traveling, and it's very crowded. And it's a cultural thing that you don't want to get sick and be away from your work, and you don't want to bring a common cold to your neighbors and your family. So they have a lot of common cold products, whereof the mask is one. So the distributor we have is very excited. But there we have a regulatory hurdle. We need to get the product approved. And we hope that it will be approved during next year. It's the Olympic Games next year. It would be fantastic to be there. But yeah, we don't know.
So do you think that this placebo-controlled study would add strength in your discussions with the Japanese authorities there? Or
absolutely. It will help us everywhere, not only in Germany. Because if you invest in a product like our, for example, in US, you have to spend hundreds of millions of Swedish krona during the first years. And to do that, you need to be convinced that the product keeps what it promises. And then a clinical trial is the absolutely best.
And a final question. You touched upon it in your presentation, but the recent deal with Maren Cosmetics in Germany, could we expect similar deals, or will you solely focus on the core operations, or sort of a strategic view there?
We focus on common cold, not only on this product, but in a little bit broader sense, because that opportunity is big enough. But as I said, we have a pipeline on hold, and when opportunities like this cosmetic company passes by, we had to grab it because it's so much money. And of course, if there are other opportunities like this, we will jump on that as well. But we don't spend money or time on anything else than common cold for the moment.
Interesting. So thank you very much, and thank you all for listening. We will now take a break.